let me know. Okay, YouTube, let's talk about Fast Training Week this week. So I know a lot of you have been following us here on YouTube. Some of you have been following me on Instagram, and I know some of you are in my Resetter group. So I wanted to make sure that you guys here on YouTube are getting the information that I'm sharing on those other platforms about your microbiome and fasting, and some of the cool things that we're seeing, not only in the Resetter group, but also in my Academy group. So let me start off by, if this is brand new to you, let me just kind of give you some context in which I'm speaking of, which every month I like to practice different fasting techniques with my online community. I think fasting is one of the most miraculous ways to heal your body. And food also can be a miraculous way to heal your body. So it's really important that when you come to a health situation, whatever your health condition is that you're trying to change, that you incorporate different types of fasting, but that you also incorporate different types of food. Both of those are going to have an impact on your health. So this week, what we've been doing is a ketobiotic fast. And we also have some people that are doing 3 to 5 day water fasts. That's awesome as well. But in a ketobiotic fast, what I've encouraged my community to do, and again, a lot of you guys are partaking in this, is 20 hours at least of fasting. Now, let me start off and explain why on a daily basis you would want to do that long of a fast. There is tremendous research coming out in multiple places. The most famous one came out of MIT, showing that these longer 20 to 24-hour fasts are causing stem cells in the mucosal lining to be regenerated. Stem cells are repair cells. So your gut is being decimated right now by pesticides and glyphosate. And it doesn't matter how diligent you are, they are saying that almost everybody has some level of glyphosate in them. Most people have plastics in their body because of just the world that we live in. So when you start implementing some 20 to 24-hour fasts on a regular basis, you're repairing that gut from the toxic exposure. So you get the intestinal stem cells. But then I've also been really encouraging you guys to really look at feeding your good bacteria. And the reason that this is so important, and this is what I've been really posting on my community page and in Instagram, is because those good bacteria are helping you stay happy. They're helping you break down estrogen. So those of you that are trying to balance your hormones, there's a whole microbiome in your gut called the estrobolome that you need to break down estrogen. These bacteria are helping you with athletic performance. So those of you that are trying to do more in whatever sport you're in, there was a study that just came out this week on marathon runners showing that they have more of a certain type of gut bacteria that allows them to push through long distance exercise more than other people. So I said this on my live on Monday. We are literally like 10% human cells and 90% bacterial cells. So when you combine fasting, these longer fasts, with a more what I call ketobiotic lifestyle, you really are going to win with your health. So go back and look at the videos I did this week. I did one on polyphenol foods. Polyphenol foods will feed those good bacteria. Prebiotic foods. So I haven't done a video on this yet, but stay tuned, I will. Those will really help, like chia seeds and hemp seeds. Those are some of my favorite prebiotic foods. Those will also really help feed good bacteria. Fermented foods like kimchi and sauerkraut, those add good bacteria into your digestive tract. So those are the kind of things that you want to be adding in to your keto diet or into your diet on a regular basis. So if you're brand new to this type of eating, start by, let's see how long I can fast. Let me get some more longer fasts into this. And then when I do eat, can I eat from these foods that will feed my good gut bacteria? So start there. If you've been doing this a long time and you're like totally in this groove of keto and fasting, then what I would encourage you to do is make sure you're including the biotic part. The biotic part is so, so important. Now, let me tell you something interesting that we did in my academy, and I'm going to be doing a video on this, but I'm going to bring it to you guys now. We did a test on celery juice. So a lot of you that have been following some of the social media platforms know that celery juice is all the craze right now. And supposedly celery juice first thing in the morning can heal your life. That's sort of the claim that's being made. So I did some research on this, and yes, celery juice has a prebiotic quality to it that will really help to feed your good bacteria. Awesome. But I really want to warn you guys that are trying to get into to maximize autophagy, you're trying to get into these longer fasts, that you want to make sure that you test celery juice with your blood sugar. And this goes for any food that you're eating. If you're like curious, how does coffee work for me? Does it pull me out of a fasted state? How does celery juice work? How does tea work? How does stevia work? These are all questions that we're seeing here on YouTube. I would really encourage you to do a blood sugar reading, then take the food and drink it, eat it, do whatever food you're testing, and then test your blood sugar a half an hour later and test it an hour later. If your blood sugar goes down continually, if it, like, let's say your blood sugar was 90, you drink a cup of coffee, a half an hour later it's like 90, 91, an hour later it's 85, that's working for you. But I'll tell you, I tested celery juice with me, and what I found is that it bumped me up 10 points. It made my blood sugar raise 10 points. Half an hour later, it wasn't coming down, it was still up. So for me, celery juice was too much sugar. It kicked me out of a fasted state. Now, for our Academy members, we did this test, and for some of them, I just got off a call with them, and for some of them, it brought their blood sugar down. So I agree with the fact that celery juice is fabulous for liver cleansing and all the things the medical medium is recommending it for. I just think that those of you that are trying to use fasting as a healing tool and you're drinking celery juice in the morning, you're not getting that benefit of autophagy. You're not dipping into those insulin stores as deeply as you would like unless you test for it. So I wanted to throw that out there to you guys because that was sort of an aha that came about this week. The other video I put out this week was plant diversity score. And this has been really fun in our resetter group. We've been experimenting with how many different types of plants can we get. And I think this is really important that we go. What I love about the ketobiotic lifestyle is you get to start with the basics first. You change your eating window, you start fasting, but then you look at nature to heal you. Nature, our bodies are meant to be in synergy with the planet we're living on. There are things that our planet is providing for us that will heal us. And just because we lose a bunch of weight taking all carbs out doesn't mean that eating meat and fat for the rest of your life is going to cause you to thrive, your health to thrive. You've got to reach for the plant world. There are too many good studies out there showing that plants feed our good gut bacteria, that they really can heal us. So the plant diversity score was developed so that you guys can measure where you're at. Now, in the resetter group this week, it was hard. I don't know if anybody got to 100, but so far we're on day 4 of fast training week, and I think some people are in the 80s. But you want to try to get over 100 different plants within a week time period. So go back and watch. That includes spices and fruits. So go watch the video that I did on that. So there, I just want to bring you guys up to speed as to what we've been doing with Fast Training Week. Depending on where you are in the world, I know that for a lot of people it's summertime and their focus is a little bit off. If you are watching this after it's live and you want to come and do a reset with us, we are doing a women's reset in July. We have a few spaces available, so please, join us over there. You can we'll put a link in the notes here so you can find that. If you want to just do, depending on when you're watching this, if you want to just do my 15-day metabolic reset, all those videos and how-to are in my academy. So come join us there. We're having a ton of fun in the academy, really diving in and helping people. If you're an Academy member and you're having a positive experience, which I think a lot of you are, just put some comments so people know and can benefit from it. And we'll put a link into there how you get into the Academy. So with that, I'm going to open up for questions.
We have a few questions,
okay.
Some good ones.
Great, I like good questions.
The first question was about fasting and epilepsy. You want to talk about the original research on ketosis?
Yes. Okay, so the question is about fasting and epilepsy. Now, remember, keto and fasting is like this becoming a more mainstream craze right now. But years ago, like we're talking 20 years ago, they used it, maybe even longer, they used it for epilepsy. They actually used the ketogenic diet to help with epilepsy and seizures. So that was the original research. Ketones are neuroprotective. They heal the brain. So the more you can start to get your body into a ketogenic state, the more you can heal that your brain. Then it became, the ketogenic diet became very popular for the cancer world, because they found that if you start, you ate this low carb diet, that ketones would repair the mitochondria. And now we're using it for weight loss and all kinds of conditions. But yeah, we don't talk about epilepsy enough, but that's where the ketogenic diet launched from. A great person to go follow or Google is Dr. Dominic D'Agostino. He's done the studies on epilepsy. He was one of the people to really bring it to our attention. So yes, absolutely.
Yeah, he followed up. I think the original studies were in the 20s.
Oh, the 20s. So he took it current. Yeah, really neat.
A question about gout and something called the warrior diet. I don't know what that is.
I'm not familiar with the warrior diet, but gout has showed up a couple of times now on our social media platforms, that people are getting gout from so much fasting and keto. So remember that in this process of healing, the ketogenic diet is a healing diet. It's not like paleo. I mean, paleo is great and it will put you in a good state, and there are other really great diets, but when you are producing ketones, ketones heal. And so in that healing, what ends up happening is the body can start to go in and repair and spit off toxins. And as those toxins come out, it can start to stimulate things like gout. We see it a lot. So a couple of my recommendations to you is you might need to slow the results down a little bit. Like maybe you need to throw in some feast days. And in my Reset Academy, on the call we just had, some people recommended that I talk more about feast days. So stay tuned to my YouTube channel. I'll give you more ideas of what a feast day looks like. But if you've been doing a lot of meat and protein, and you've been doing a lot of fasting and you're getting gout, you got to throw in some carbs and do some feast days. I also recommend a supplement called Bind. Bind will help to bind to any toxins that are being spit off that might be harmful or to the joints, that might be harmful to your kidneys. So I would encourage you to try Bind. You can also dive into something we call the fasting trio. You can find all of this on revelationhealth.com, and if you put my name in, they give you a discount. Put my last name. But those are the kind of things that if you're getting great results with your current diet, but you're getting gout-like symptoms, and you don't want to add in feast days, then you're going to want to use more binders. You want to get some things that will bind to those toxins. So hopefully that helps.
Okay. Someone wants to know if you can do the gut zoomer while doing the TCD brain detox.
Gut zoomer you can do during the TCD brain detox, absolutely. Gut zoomer can be done anytime. It's a really beautiful test to see what's going on with your gut. So yes.
Okay. Dr. Jan Simpson wants to know more about the Academy.
Yeah, so the Academy, this is what we created this year, because what we saw is that, and a lot of you might be experiencing this, is that there's just so much information out there. You don't know where to start. You don't know what piece you want to dive into. So what we did is we created courses in our academy that are very focused. And so we have our 15-day reset is in there. We have my 21-day ketobiotic is in there. We have recipes in there. We have my workouts. I've got some very specific workouts that are in there. So we took information and we categorized it so that it's much more usable. But then we do calls as a group. We do coaching calls. We have a separate Facebook page. We have a discussion group online. So if you're not on Facebook, so it's a whole different community, but it's smaller. You get more interaction with me to ask more questions. And we have new courses that are going on all the time. So I love the Academy. I love empowering people with knowledge. And I know how overwhelming it is to try to take even a YouTube page like mine has so much information. So we're trying to really put it into step-by-step formulas for you. So yeah, come join us in the Academy. We'd love to have you.
Let's see. I'm not sure what this, Beth, I'm going to try to distill this down. This person fasted for 20 hours,
Okay.
had a salad with veggies and nuts, low animal protein, had bloating and woke up very hungry.
Yeah.
Thoughts on why?
Yeah, so anytime you eat vegetables and you bloat, there's a good chance you have something called SIBO. And SIBO's tricky. It's not something as simple as I can tell you on a YouTube video, but I would encourage you to keep fasting because it is a good starting point to help SIBO. So that would be what I would say about the bloating. The other thing, the other piece of bloating is that it could be a die-off of estrogen. It could be a breakdown of estrogen. Sometimes that causes bloating. But if you're waking up hungry and you fasted, you break your fast with a lot of vegetables, make sure you're doing enough fat. So the key to hunger is to really up your good fat. So that's where we stabilize your blood sugar so that you don't get your blood sugar too low. And when your blood sugar gets too low, sometimes if you're not fat adapted yet, there's a chance that you're going to become more hungry. So that would be and make sure you're testing your numbers. That'll help.
So a question about how much you have to have of a plant for the plant diversity score.
Yeah.
It's our own score.
Yeah. There is no amount of plant for the diversity score. I believe that it's just the variety that's so important. So we don't have enough research yet. I was explaining this to my Academy members that we just don't know enough about the microbiome, but you better believe that Sequoia and I are digging through every little bit of current research that's coming out. We are looking at all the information as it comes to publication. Like the one we showed this week was athletic performance. That was a study that just came out. So we just don't have enough information yet. But what we do know is that the plant world feeds our microbiome, the good bacteria. So, and the more diversity we give that we eat of plants, the more we help this microbiome. We do know that.
And we know ketones are good, and we know fasting is good.
And we know
so we came up with...
Yeah, so we know ketones are good, and we know fasting's good. We know that. So that's how we came up with ketobiotic fasting, was let's mix all the knowns together. And as things change, we'll bring it to you guys. But yeah, I wish I could tell you a teaspoon of clove will change your life. We don't know that yet, but stay tuned.
Okay. Any thoughts on diatomaceous earth?
Yeah, I'm not opposed to diatomaceous earth. I think it's great for parasites, especially little baby parasites that might have not become rampant yet. So yeah, I'm a fan.
This person has been doing keto for 10 months and their pain came down, but now all of a sudden it's really increased in their knees. That could be like a gout syndrome.
Yeah, that could be gout. Now just make sure if you've been doing keto for a while that you are doing ketobiotics, so make sure you're getting the plants in there, and then make sure you're feasting. So, stay tuned, I'll do some of this, what does it look like to feast in a healthy way? Because your body is not meant to be in ketosis all the time. So it might be that you need to come out and do a feast day and then go back into keto. So make sure there's some cycling to it.
Okay. Question again about stalling. That's the kind of thing we deal with in the Academy.
Yeah, if you're stalling, join us in the Academy. I have a whole step-by-step for my 15-day reset in there. It's a metabolic reset meant to help people unstall. We just had a Academy member told us that she lost was it 16 pounds
yeah.
in 15 days and she had been doing stalling with keto.
Yeah. Let's see. Lots of people all over the world.
Yay!
Are on.
And thanks, you guys. We appreciate you announcing where you're from. We, you know, we're really big into community, which is why we're coming to you live as much as possible, which is why we have our academy. We want to get to know you. We want to help you. We want to know what's important to you. So as you're watching my videos or even on, you know, this video, let us know what you want to know more about so we can customize this channel for you. This is your channel. So, and we love that it's all over the world. I think, you know, the world is becoming a smaller and smaller place. So I love that.
Person's getting a rash on their skin. They've been doing keto for a year.
Rash on the skin.
Maybe does something bind?
Yeah, I would start, if you're getting a rash, remember the skin is an exit point. So that's where you're pushing out the toxins. So start with bind. You can find that on Revelation Health. I would do 2 a night for a couple of weeks and see if the rash goes away. If it doesn't, then my next question would be like, go look at your tongue, see if it's white, because you may have a lot of candida that actually needs some candida killers. So this is where the gut zoomer would let you know. We could tell with a gut zoomer test if you had candida, but start with the bind. That would be a good starting place, and then monitor your tongue and see if it's white or yellow or black, ringing in the ears, foggy brain. Those kind of things can be a little candida. Craving carbs, that's kind of candida.
Somebody wants to know how you're different from Dr. Jason Fung.
How am I different?
Your protocols. What are your protocols?
I'm like, well, I'm a woman, and no. Okay, I love Dr. Fung, by the way. I've met him several times. He's just a beautiful man with a big heart and a big brain. We just did, by the way, if you aren't, and I'll answer your question in a moment, but we just had the opportunity with the Women in Wellness podcast. It's the podcast I do with 2 other natural docs to really sit down and talk to Megan Ramos, and that was fascinating. So anyways, so go watch that. We'll put the link in here. So here's what Dr. Fung really brought to our attention. Dr. Fung is a nephrologist, so he was dealing with patients that had kidney damage from diabetes. And what he discovered was that he really wanted to get to people before their kidneys wore out, and he wanted to teach people how to balance insulin. So he looks at our health from an insulin standpoint. And he has 2 major points that he has said over and over again. One is that we need to keep our carbs low. We need to keep our protein moderate so that we can bring our insulin down. The second point that he has is that we really need to focus on fasting so that we can go and get the stored insulin a long time ago that we stored. So he's an insulin control guy. He does it through fasting and through low carb. That's his angle. I don't disagree with that. I think that's fabulous. Where I differ is I feel like we need more variation. I feel like we need more feasting on good foods. We need to go in and out of keto. And I especially feel like we need to be adding in more biotic pieces. We need to focus on the microbiome more. I also feel for women that we can't go straight keto. So with Dr. Fung, he'll tell you, you want to lose weight? Stop eating carbs, start fasting. Well, that's great until your hair starts falling out or you become really anxious. I've got a video tomorrow coming out about that. That's really great until those symptoms appear. So I like to really focus on the microbiome, and I like to cycle. We got to be cycling. And I know it's a bit confusing, but hang in there. I'm working to teach you guys that. And in the academy, we're doing it a bunch. But I have some variations because I don't think we should be keto and fasting all the time. So,
and more emphasis on the gut.
And more on the gut. So hopefully, and then, you know, my story is I'm 49 and I was doing keto and fasting for a very long time and finding that it was throwing my hormones off. So I had to make some adaptations to my own keto and fasting to balance my hormones. So you'll see a lot of that kind of discussion here on my YouTube.
Okay. I think that was the last question that I see.
Okay, great.
So
awesome. So yeah, again, I don't know when a lot of you guys are live. Thank you for joining me live. I'm working to come to you guys live here every Thursday. We will be posting when I do go live. We'll try to post it that morning, so if you want to jump on, you can. Make sure you're watching my community page, because that's where we make announcements like when I go live. And then just if you're not live, leave comments. Let me know what you want to know more videos on, so that we can really customize this channel for you. Thank you to those of you that subscribe. Thank you to those of you that send this out to people. So it's awesome. So we have one more question?
One last question?
One last question. There's always one last question.
I know.
Okay.
How to come off a 10-day water fast with minimal side effects.
Yeah, that should be also another great video to do. 10-day water fast, I would encourage you to start with bone broth and some broth, vegetable broth, for at least half a day. Then I would do some steamed vegetables, followed maybe even a sweet potato or a really small amount. But the main thing I would encourage you to do is not do any meat for about 48 hours, because meat's going to be the hardest to digest. So broths, then steamed vegetables, then you can go to maybe some potatoes and some sweet potatoes. So and I would do it over a couple of, at least a 24-hour period. I would be doing those. So, okay, great.
Last one, because this is a good question, I think.
Okay.
This person has been doing keto for a while, and all of a sudden the ketones stop, but they're using urine strips.
Oh, great. Okay. So urine versus blood strips. Let's start there on this last question. Urine is only telling you what is excreting out of you. Blood tells you what your body has accessible and it's going to use. So blood is a better measurement than urine. So the first thing I would encourage you is to switch over. We like Ketomojo. Again, we'll put a link in there. Second thing is you might need to vary it a little bit. So if you've been doing keto a long time and you get stuck, I continue to say you got to pull yourself out, do some healthy feast days, and then go back in. That in and out is really where the magic happens. The body was not meant to be in ketosis all the time. So switch to blood, do some variation. We're in Italy. You can go back and watch the videos I did from there. And I feasted massively, gluten, pasta every meal. And I'm noticing that I'm going back into my keto and fasting, and I'm getting into ketosis quite quickly. My ketone numbers are a little bit deeper than they were before I left. So it is that in and out that makes a big difference. So, okay, as always, I hope that helps. And thanks again for all of your guys' support and your comments. And just don't give up on yourself. Please don't give up on yourself. Keep asking questions until you're on the path to health, because you deserve great health and your body is a flippin' miracle. So don't give up on it, okay? Have an awesome day.